Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our 9-month around the world adventure. And today we're going to the Eternal City, to Rome, Italy, to one of the world wonders. And we also have a very important personal story of safety and issues that can happen while traveling. And we hope you stick to the end to hear this story, and maybe it'll save you some heartache as well.
Welcome to Living Phase 2.
Hi, I'm Mike.
And I'm Nancy, and we're empty nesters striving to live life to the fullest.
And we're living that full life going around the world on Royal Caribbean's 9-month Ultimate World Cruise on Serenade of the Seas.
We are, well, friends, today we're moving up the coast to the west coast of Italy, and we're now in Rome.
Well, are we really in Rome?
Well, not really. We're in Civitavecchia because we can't get a cruise ship to Rome.
No, it's kind of hard to go cross country on a cruise ship.
So we're in Civitavecchia.
Yeah, so Civitavecchia is about an hour drive into Rome. So if you're on a cruise in the Mediterranean, you may see, oh, look, we're stopping in Rome. Well, just be prepared that you're going to have to take a shuttle. It's about an hour into there, and everybody does that. So Civitavecchia is kind of an industrial port. It's not, I mean, there are a few things you can see and do there, but in general, people stop here to go into Rome. So as we mentioned, this was one of the included tours Royal Caribbean was doing to see the wonders of the world. However, this was interesting. From Civitavecchia, it's, as we mentioned, it's about an hour drive into Rome. And Royal was going to get us on buses about 3 o'clock in the afternoon and pretty much take us to, the interesting part was they were going to do lunch, the Forum, and then the Colosseum, and then right back to the ship. Well, a lot of us said to Royal, sent requests in and said, well, wait a minute, our ship's docking at 10 in the morning. We'd actually like to see Rome a little bit. Why sit on the ship for 5 hours, while we're waiting for this world wonder excursion? The great thing is Royal listened.
They did.
And they actually then scheduled some buses. They sent out a survey and said, well, who wants to go in early? Who wants to stay, go in later and simply go directly to the Colosseum adventure? And we said, yeah, send us in early. So us and another couple that we're friends with got together and got on an early bus at 10 in the morning, took us into Rome, just dropped us off near the an area, major tourist area, not too far from Trevi Fountain and some of those things, and we just walked around. Now, as many of you follow our channel know, we've lived in Europe. We've been here to Rome multiple times. In fact, we're kind of breaking a promise we had coming back to Rome in the summer, which we'll talk about. But we got off with our friends and they had never been here. So we showed them around and just started walking the streets of Rome. It was really nice. And we saw churches.
We saw 6 or 7
and churches. And churches.
There's a church on every block.
There's
almost
more churches than Starbucks in the America.
Everyone is just as beautiful as the next when you go inside. They're just gorgeous.
Yeah. So we went into quite a few of those, one after another. And we were joking that we'd step out of a church and go, oh, look, there's a church across the street. Oh, look, another church,
And they're all beautiful.
Yeah. So then we walked down to the Trevi Fountain. Now, unfortunately, the fountain was not running at the time.
That was too bad.
Yeah. They were doing maintenance. They were cleaning out the coins, doing things like that, which actually it was a little bit of a shame because I heard about 20 minutes after we left, they turned the fountain back on and had it running again. But we saw that. But then we just stopped and had a little cafe. You had a Nutella panini.
Oh my gosh, it was so good. It's like ridiculous.
Yeah.
It was so good.
Yeah, a little cup of coffee, a Nutella panini. That's hard to say. And then we walked from there to the Spanish Steps. They got our friends got a view of the Spanish Steps. And then we had to go back and actually meet up with the tour to the Colosseum with our guide.
The first place they took us to was for a late lunch at Royal Space Rome, and this was arranged by Royal Caribbean, and they had singers in there, they had musicians. The lunch was
kind of a charcuterie buffet.
Yeah, and but it was very mediocre. We're thinking, oh, we're in Rome. We're gonna get some great pasta or pizza, but it was really more appetizers, charcuterie, kind of tapas type food.
Yeah,
and no air conditioning,
and
it
one
was
bathroom,
hot.
literally one stall
for the women and one for the men.
Yeah, for 300 people. Yeah.
So a little less than ideal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
normally Royal has done a great job with the lunches on these World Wonder adventures, and we're not quite sure what happened here. Obviously, they have to have a convention space, someplace that's very large to accommodate 300 people. But in this case, yeah, this one missed the mark, and just not that great. So, but it was a lunch, and we
Mhm.
had that. Got back on our buses, and then we were heading with our guides to the Forum.
And so we went to the forum, and the forum, we just really walked through the forum. But our guide was very good. She showed us the different buildings and what they were used for. Some of them have been turned into churches. She took us to some beautiful places where we could get pictures of the Colosseum as well. It was very pretty.
Yeah, she did a good job. She was funny, told good
Mm-hmm.
stories. Going into a place, I mean, the Forum is iconic, right? If you're going to go to Rome, there are certain things that you're going to go want to see, and of course the Forum is one of them. The guide did a good job, and we enjoyed it a lot, even having been there before. But yeah, it was a good overview, and especially a good guide. We say this a lot. A good guide can really bring
Make it
something
or
to
break
life.
it.
And
Yes.
so, yeah, a lot of the views and things, she kind of knew where to go and
Uh-huh.
what to do and how to see it. Well, then we left the Forum, walked down the hill and to the front of the Colosseum. Now, here's where a little bit of a pro tip. As we mentioned the other times we've been to Rome, we never went into the Colosseum. That's one of the reasons we're
Mm-hmm.
excited about this. But you must get your tickets for the Colosseum in advance. You're going to want to
Yes.
do that. It's time tickets. You have a very
Mm-hmm.
specific time to go in. Don't try to go in earlier or later, and so that you can access the Colosseum at the time of your ticket. It's very crowded, lots of people. You go through, and your ticket is checked at least 4 or 5 times while you're going through the line. In fact, we had one of the people in our tour group showed the ticket, and then the third or fourth time, it's like, oh, I lost my ticket, and I think they just thought they were done after showing it 3 or 4 times, and they put it away somewhere and couldn't find their ticket again
Hold
then.
on to
And
that ticket.
yeah, so you got to be aware of that. Large backpacks are not allowed inside the Colosseum. The little purse is fine, but not really.
No professional camera
Right,
equipment.
large video cameras, tripods, things like that are not allowed inside the Colosseum. So don't try to take any of that in. But it is a bit of effort to get into the Colosseum. You got to go
Mm-hmm.
through quite a bit. But then once you're in, we were in with our guide, and quite amazing. I was
It was
yes.
I had not seen pictures of the inside of the Colosseum, or at least if I had, it's
Mm-hmm.
been years ago, and I was just surprised at how much there was to see inside the Colosseum. I
Mm-hmm.
found it to be quite fascinating.
And once again, being in there with a good guide, they can walk you around. She's like, "Oh, don't stop here to take pictures. Let me take you over there and get done. Here's a
Right.
better shot over here. Oh, there's a really good place to get a view from over here." And she would tell the history, the story, what is myth, what is real.
Mm-hmm.
As you go back and forth. Obviously the movie Gladiator, has a lot of the ideas that people have of what the Colosseum looked like. And as she said, it was actually pretty accurate that they put together from that movie the way
Mm-hmm.
it looked and what they could do. She talked about some of the engineering, how they covered it with the tarps that would go up and shade the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
And no, it's amazing how much the Colosseum is very similar to like a football stadium today,
Mm-hmm.
and some of the technology and things that they used and to keep the crowd cool and to give good views of what was going on. But yeah, it was a very interesting tour. I thought it was very worthwhile to go inside the Colosseum. Now there is a tour. We did not go on this. There is a tour that will take you down below into the catacombs underneath. That would have been really interesting, but of course, with
That
Royal and
wasn't
600
part. Yeah,
people,
that
that wasn't
wasn't
part
part
of
of
this.
it.
But I thought we got a good overview. I
I
enjoyed it
was
a
very
lot.
pleased with it.
Yeah. So then we left the Colosseum, and then it was really time to get back to the ship at this point. So we worked our way back to the buses, and then the hour drive back from the buses to the port and to get back on the ship.
Now, Rome is a turnover point for our cruise ship, meaning that some people are getting off the cruise ship, they're ending their time on the cruise, and new people are coming back on. And so my brother and his family are getting off, and they're heading to the airport, or excuse me, they're taking a train to get to the airport there in Rome to head back home. And while they're on their train, this truly happened to them. I mean, sometimes you hear stories of, oh, this happened to a friend of a friend of a friend of a friend,
Mhm.
but this actually happened to my brother and his family. They're on the train and they get approached by someone who is in an official uniform,
Mhm.
and they
At
come
least looks like an
looks
official.
official,
Yeah. Hmm.
and they come up and they ask them for their tickets, which they showed them, and the lady who's in uniform says this is the wrong ticket. And they're looking, she goes, I'm going to charge you 64 euros, but I could charge you 68
Per
euros per
person.
person. But you seem like nice people. I'm going to charge you 64. And they said, well, we'd like to see your ID. And she says, now you're being belligerent. And I'm cutting this very short. You're being belligerent. Now you're going to get charged the 68 euros per person. And they're like, no, this isn't right. We She's like, I'm going to call the police. And they said, please call the police. And she says, well, the police were unavailable
Yeah,
by
yeah.
phone
She
at
she
this
made a
point.
pretend phone call, and
Oh.
it's like, oh, the police aren't available. Surprise.
Yes.
Yes.
And she's like, now I'm going to have to denounce you to the police. And what does it mean to denounce us to the police? Well, she got frustrated and then finally She
She
walked
threatened him a
off.
few more
She did
times.
threaten him a
Yeah.
few more times. She didn't ask anyone else in that train car for their tickets, and she just went on her way. And when they got to their stop in Rome, there were no police around. There was nothing. I mean, it's a scam. It's a scam that this woman is doing to sucker people out of their money. So just beware. I mean, David and Shauna, they knew they had the right tickets
Hmm.
on this train.
Yeah. Don't be
Yeah,
bullied.
don't be
Don't be
bullied.
threatened. Yeah,
Yes.
and if somebody says, well, then I'm going to call the police, say, please call the police. We want to get them involved now at this point.
Yeah.
I even wrote back when they sent us this note
Horrible.
about what happened. I said, I am so proud of you for not falling for this,
Yes.
because so many people do fall for it. They just
Well, they
get
get
scared.
scared.
Yep, they get scared. They're thinking, oh, you're in a foreign country. Obviously, I must have made the mistake. I must have bought the wrong ticket. And this is a very well-known scam here in Italy and in other places, but especially here in Italy. We talked to some people who are from Italy, and they said, oh, yeah, that's been going on now for a long time. They're always pulling that one. So just be aware. Do not be afraid to get the police involved if you need to in a country like Italy, to say, okay, let's find out what's going on here. Am I really in the wrong? If I am, yeah, I'll pay the difference. I'll pay what I need to do. Obviously, we don't want to have a wrong ticket, but don't be bullied and don't be scammed. And so, yeah, good. I was so glad to hear that
I
they
they
did
stood
not.
up for themselves, and yeah, I
Yeah.
was proud of them too. But I would have been scared if somebody would have approached me
Mm-hmm.
and kind of bullied me like that.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yep.
yeah, so beware.
Be aware, and just be cautious, and obviously, like we said in the last video, watch your personal possessions and everything that's going on. The bigger the city, the bigger the scams, and the more scams there are, so just be aware.
Unfortunately.
Well, with that, and the great job your brother and his family did in not getting scammed, where are we heading for tomorrow?
Well, tomorrow we're going to Cinque Terre, which means 5 cities right there along the coast. These 5 little tiny, beautiful, charming cities that they're not going to want to miss.
Yeah, it is one of the most beautiful views we've had on the World Cruise. You're not going to want to miss seeing that. And we take a boat, and we also go by bus. We get all the different views of Cinque Terre. So.
We did. It was wonderful. So friends, you're not going to want to miss it. Be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on those notifications. But before we let them go, Mike, would you come back to Rome?
Well, as we've said several times, we've been here multiple times. We always said we wouldn't come back in the summer. That coin I threw in the Trevi Fountain is continuously coming back to haunt me. We keep coming back to Rome, but. I wouldn't mind coming back for something like another tour of the Vatican or a papal audience or something of that nature. But we've been to Rome several times, and I certainly don't want to come back in the summer if we ever did come back. But again, we've kind of seen Rome several times. We've been very, very blessed to be able to have that experience. But yeah, I'm kind of done with Rome.
I was too. It was crowded. There was a lot of graffiti.
Hot.
Hot.
Pickpockets. I
Yeah.
mean, people trying to scam you.
So I honestly don't have any desire to come back to Rome. And I'm
Yeah.
sorry to say that,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
um,
But we've seen it.
but we
So,
have
and
seen
that's
it.
not to detract somebody else who's never been to Rome. That's
Absolutely.
very,
If you
please.
have not been to Rome,
Oh, you've got to go.
it's yes, it's a must do.
Yeah, it absolutely is. Like our friends that had never been there, we got the little taster overview with them, and they were flat out saying, "Oh yes, we've got to come back and
Back.
see this."
Right.
And we agreed with them, but after you've been there 3 or 4 times, you're
Right.
like,
Yeah, we live just a few hours away,
yeah,
so yeah.
yeah.
All
So,
right.
yep. So that's where we're at with Rome, and take a look at Cinque Terre tomorrow, and we look forward to seeing you all then.
Have a beautiful day. Take care, friends.
Bye
Bye
bye.
bye.